What's going on, folks? This is Steve Tucker. We are here alongside our good friend Frankie Barroso, and today we are here live at Old Atlanta before the repave. And I'll tell you what, we're going to be here for our second to last race of the season, the Harpoon Design Truck Series. Man, Frankie, this is going to be a fun time. Everybody, has thoughts about the new repaved version of the track, basically a smaller Daytona, right, super speedway style. But this old track, man, this surface was so good. Burnt up tires, and put on a really, really good show. Obviously controversial. A lot of fans like this old layout. So we said, you know what? Let's just bring it back for the league and second to last race, have some fun. And here we are, man. How you doing today?
I'm doing all right, Steve. How's your night going?
Honestly, man, I'm excited. Okay, Atlanta has always been one of my favorite tracks. I've had pretty good success here, actually, on this layout in previous iRacing leagues and things like that. So for me, I'm just pumped up, man. I want to get this thing going.
Yeah, nice. And I will say, though, one thing that's going to get going, especially from the jump, is the playoffs. Obviously, this is the second to last race, meaning this is the last race, sorry, of the round of 8. We've got 4 drivers that are going to go home thinking, maybe I could have picked up a win or a couple more spots.
Yes. Can't wait, man. It's going to be a good time right now. Mark Whitley currently P1, the 31.18. Nice job by him. Thomas Meeks currently on the board. Right now P6. But yeah, I mean, Frankie, you mentioned it. Right now, Mark Whitley with a huge win last week in IRP. And, obviously going to be huge implications. He's already moving on to 2 weeks. In 2 weeks, we have Auto Club. Next week is the off week. The calm before the storm, I like to say. And, man, it's going to be crazy because Auto Club, we know, is a big track, obviously 2-mile track. draft dependent, especially in these trucks. It's going to be really interesting to see how these guys can kind of navigate that. But Mark Whitley already forward into that championship race. So now, who are the other three? I mean, judging by our playoff points right now, a lot going on. Mark Whitley currently has that win again. Nick Lights right now currently plus 30. So feeling really, really good about his chances. Really just needs to show up today and have a good day. But I mean, other than those two, Frankie, I mean, man, Joseph Mealy, John Wright, right there above the cutoff line, +9, +4. But Josh Larson's there. I mean, he's -4. One stage could change his whole future.
Yeah, one of the things we're going to be talking about tonight is stage points. Not a big field tonight, so those stage points are going to be an ultra plus for anybody inside, especially if you're the likes of Joseph Mealy, Jonathan Wright, Josh Larson, Thomas Meeks, Michael Lanfear, Nick Biddy, who was not able to show up last week. Unfortunately, looks like 50 points out.
Yeah.
30 points out, excuse me. He's in a must-win tonight. No ifs, ands, or buts. He's got to win tonight.
That's right. He's got a fast car, though, Frankie. That's one thing that I think he's going to feel pretty good about. I mean, obviously, he's got, a long road ahead tonight. He has to win, right? Bottom line. Has to win. But again, I mean, Nick, I'm sorry, Thomas Meeks, Michael Lanfear, kind of in a must-win scenario. I mean, they can get there with stage points and whatnot, but knowing how strong Mark Whitley is, again, Joseph Mealy, Nick Lights, they're kind of, it's going to be tough, right? I feel like, me personally, anybody below that cutoff line, except Josh Larson, I think they have to win. Josh Larson, really his competition right now is John Wright. I think they're going to go head-to-head. We're going to focus on those two guys a lot this race because they're right there on the bubble, right? So that's going to be the guys that we need to focus on the most. But again, Joseph Mealy, he's only +9, Frankie. I mean, gotta have a good race still. I mean, hey, listen, I mean, if John Wright or Josh Larson win stage 1, guess what? That's 10 points. If Joseph isn't in the top 10, that's a net gain of 10 right there, and Joseph would find himself -1 in the playoffs. So a lot can happen in this race.
Yeah, a lot can happen in this race. One thing is it starts with a good qualifying. Obviously, Mark Whitley on pole position so far. Doesn't need the pole position, but he will take that pole position so far. Nick Light's in a good spot as well. But then we'll see what happens with Joseph Mealy. He's, I believe, the second to last playoff car to run. We still have Jonathan Wright to look out for. But as it's turning out now, it seems like there's a bit of a sandwich in between the couple playoff guys.
Yeah. It's
those three you see, 4th, 5th, and 6th so far as Jonathan Wright puts down a time. Only quick for 10th. There's kind of two groups here. You got that first playoff group, 1st through 3rd, and kind of that second playoff group, 7th through 11th so far. Let's see what Jonathan Wright has to do here. There's a decent 3 and 4. He's going to try to make it across the line. Let's see what his time is. Joseph Mealy did not really go faster. Jonathan Wright,
whew. Oh,
he goes,
man.
oh.
Ties Mark Whitley right there. Both
yeah, that
31-18.
Yeah, that is, woof. I will say that's pretty close. The distance is about 2 1,000ths of a second. But I'll tell you what, John Wright in a great position starting this race. Obviously, outside pole position, his main rival, Josh Larson, in 9th place. John Wright doing what he needs to do to move on to the championship 4.
Man, what does that mean, though, for I mean, I'll tell you what, if at the end of this race, this comes down to 1 point for John Wright, that right there could be massive. I mean, you tie Mark Whitley for outside pole position. If he would have squeaked out just a couple of inches, right, on that lap time, that would have been that 1 point potentially to get him into the round of 4. So this is going to come down to the wire, I feel like, and right now we're already kind of seeing it. Right now, 12 drivers have qualified. We're still missing a couple more that have not qualified yet, but have a couple more minutes left to go until qualifying ends. And there it is. Good to go. Mark Whitley does get the pole. That is final. Gets that 1 playoff point, but obviously already locked into the championship 4, so no need for that. Hey, Frankie, talk to us about the stages. What are we going to see today?
All right, so the stages are about 20 and 50. So this first stage is going to be an absolute sprint. No need. You can save tires a little bit. Maybe saving tires will gain you a position or two, but it's not an absolute must to save the tires. So basically, these guys that qualified up front, like for example, John Wright, Justin Mealy, Nick Lights, Mark Whitley,
Yeah.
they will all be in a prime position to get stage points, get the most stage points actually. Then, as you can see, you've got kind of two groups of playoff drivers here. It's the first four and the other four. The other four are 8th through 11th. Now, Nick Biddy, I don't think he's really going to care about stage points. I think he knows what he has to do. He needs to win this race. But if I'm Josh Larson and Thomas Meeks, I think Michael Lanfair is also in at Nick Biddy territory.
Right.
Of he probably has to win, but he might not have to. But if I know Michael Lanfair, he's looking at win.
Oh yeah.
If if you're one of those guys, you're kind of shaking your boots a little bit because you didn't qualify as well as you needed to, and you're stuck right now in kind of the lower playoff points positions. While, especially if you're Josh Larson, your main rival, John Wright, Joseph Mealy, they're second and third right now. So Josh Larson in a net loss as it stands right now, if it were to stand, is about, I would say, 7 points so far, and
That's a
that
great
would mean that would mean he would be minus 11 after stage one. So that's a big blow if that were to happen.
Yes, sir. Before these boys get going on the first pace lap, right now we have Mark Whitley getting the pole again. Jonathan Wright was so close, got P2 right there. Oh man, I'll tell you what, both tying for the pole position. Obviously, iRacing only determines 3 numbers and not the 4th one, so it was very close after the decimal point. But P3, Nick Lights, cannot forget about him. He is going for a 2nd straight back-to-back Truck Series championship. So look out for him right here, trying to get that done. Joseph Mealy right here on the inside, going to try and get that done here in the 39 Zion machine. Josh Purcell, haven't seen him in a little while, but hey, that 57 flagship truck, man, I'll tell you what, looking quick in practice. Do not count him out. And honestly, my dark horse of the day, Frankie, Nick Simpson in that 46 Sand Tiger tattoos, man. He's been doing pretty good lately. I saw him in practice. I was watching him, and he seems to know how to get around this place. Looking forward to that. Anthony Williams, P7. Michael Lanfair, P8. Josh Larson, P9. Looking good there. Nick Biddy, very quick in practice. Was the leader, actually, for quite a while, so look out for him. Thomas Meeks needs a win. Bottom line, right, Frankie? P11. Mike Corvo, P12. Melvin Young, 13th. And rounding at the field right now is Clinton Woodby in P14. Going to be a good time, Frankie. I cannot wait to get this thing going. Lights are out on the pace car. Mark Whitley going to lead them off. Here we go.
Yeah, absolutely. The big thing is, how are these guys able to kind of sort out after 5 laps? We'll see how these guys go, and we're going green here.
Here we go. Stage 1 underway. Barney the Flagman leads them off. Mark Whitley takes that dive into turn 1. Watch out, Nick Lights, he is right there too. On the inside, man, that low line came in real quick. There's a bump, Frankie, in turn 2 you got to watch out for. These trucks, you don't really notice it as much, but it is prominent, and it'll take you out if you're not careful.
Yeah, I ran a couple laps here in the practice session, and definitely the first couple laps you are full throttle, right? You're just holding the car down and just basically not trying to crack the throttle in any bit way or shape. As you kind of seen it, a little couple mini packs right here. Get the first 3 or 4 out front have kind of distanced themselves a little bit, kind of formed a single file groove. Now these guys in the second pack are starting to single out a little bit better.
Yes, sir. Here they come right now, side by side. Nick Simpson, Thomas Meeks. Looking pretty good right here as they cross the line for lap 3. Doing pretty good. Back up front, Mark Whitley is still leading the pack. Stage 1, only lap 20, so it's very quick. Right now, you got to get those stage points, and you got to get them quick, Frankie. These guys in the mid-pack, they got to get there now.
Yeah, you can see the aggression as we got a battle for P2 right there. Nick Light's going around his teammate Joseph Mealy. He's gonna go around the outside of him, and I'll tell you what, battle to look out for. Josh Larson, John Wright, they are side by side.
There it is, Frankie, and they know it. Josh Larson trying to make that move around the outside for P5. Needs every single point he can get against Jonathan Wright.
Yeah, these boys know who they're racing against. As there, Josh Larson uses that outside to power around Jonathan Wright. We might see John Wright maybe save some tire here a little bit, but I'll tell you what, he's got a 4-point buffer. He's got to Mr. Larson, so I think if he loses a point in this stage, it's not going to be a big deal.
Right.
I just think he would rather kind of gain a point, obviously, than lose a point.
Absolutely. Here we go. Back in the pack two. Nick Biddy, Thomas Meeks, Anthony Williams doing pretty good right here. Having a good run on the outside so far. We're keeping it clean. Love to see it. A lot of room here, Frankie.
Yeah, a decent amount of room at the old Atlanta Motor Speedway. And I'll give you a question, Steve. Which position would you rather be in? Would you rather be in a position like Nick Biddy or in a position like Mike Landfair or Thomas Meeks, where you kind of don't need a win, but the points gap is a decent amount, especially in kind of a small field like this. Stage points are a premium. Which spot or which I would say approach would you rather be in, or position, excuse me? Nick Biddy, where you need to win.
That's tough.
Or Meeks and Landfair, who don't need a win, but they kind of need to run super well.
I mean, for me, man, I'll tell you what, that's tough. I feel like if you're a Nick Biddy, you missed last week, kind of where you stand already. Okay, I'm down 50 points. It's not close. It's not a matter of me just squeaking out a couple, positions here on stages. For me, I want my mission to be clear. I want to go into this race knowing, okay, all I have to do and can do is win to get into the championship 4. So now that helps my strategy for the race. Okay, how am I going to, go off strategy, right? How am I going to do whatever? Because stage points aren't going to matter at this point. All you're going to do is go for the win. So we might see different strategies from Nick Biddy that won't gain him any stage points, but will help him at the end of the race. For me, that's the game I want to play.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, I kind of agree with you. As a driver in Nick Biddy's position myself last season, it was fairly kind of obvious. I needed to win. No ifs, ands, or buts. You build off of your mentality and your strategy in the race as kind of that. I need to win. I don't need to worry about stage points. I don't need to worry about getting into something. I just want to be there at the end to have a shot. And as long as Nick Biddy, in my opinion, puts himself in a decent position, we might see that 32 truck in victory lane.
That's right. Definitely fast in practice. We saw him, I believe, actually fastest in practice. So really, really good. I think he's holding back a little bit. I think we're going to see Nick Biddy at the front of this thing before the end of it. Mark Whitley right now leads the pack still. Going into lap 10. We are 10 laps away from the end of stage 1. Nick Lights in P2 right now looking pretty good. Joseph Mealy. This is a pretty familiar sight, Frankie. Mark Whitley P1, Nick Lights P2, and Joseph Mealy P3. For me, if you're Nick Lights and you're Joseph Mealy, you got to, I feel like this is a kind of a microcosm of the entire season, right? Whitley out front the entire time. Nick Lights real close in P2, has a lot of wins, same as Mark. But then Joseph kind of in that, in that third spot, kind of playing, bridesmaid but never a bride, right? Like that whole analogy. So what are you going to do if you're Nick Lights, Joseph Mealy, to get this championship? Because Mark Whitley, if he is free of pit road mistakes or things like that we've seen, how are you going to beat him? That's the question that I feel like these guys have to answer before we get to Auto Club.
Yeah, that's a really tough question. I would say you can almost play it like, in my opinion, I don't think we've seen these two ever try this, but if we get to for example, like a situation at Auto Club where there's kind of two separate strategies, and we might see that. I think the best chance for either one of those two is to beat Whitley is one of them should kind of play it in F1 terms. One of them gets to do the same strategy as Whitley. The other is going to do the complete opposite. So that way, if one works or one doesn't work, you always kind of play the numbers out. If there's two strategies, if I have two drivers, I'm going to put one of them on the different strategy, then it's 100%, win rate for at least one of your drivers.
It's a great call. Right now, Nick Lights obviously, again, is that Season 1 champion, obviously wants to go back-to-back, but hey, at the end of the day, Joseph Mealy right there, his teammate, what's it going to take, right? Josh Larson right here, still in P4, right now, currently in front of Jonathan Wright. This battle is going to heat up the whole rest of the day, I feel like. Right now, Josh Larson, if it ends this way, going to get that one extra point.
Yeah, gonna maybe end it this way, but I'll tell you what, I would say look at the lines that Jonathan Wright and Josh Larson do. And Josh Larson kind of doing a little bit of a diamond in 3 and 4. This time he stays up at the top of the racetrack in 1 and 2. Let's see what he does here in turn 3. He's going to stay up high at the beginning of the corner. Is he going to dive down to the bottom of the racetrack? No, he's going to stay there on the high side, maybe giving John Wright a little bit of some dirty air, especially in the middle of the corner. These trucks, you wouldn't think they would provide a lot of aero, but trust me when I say they do. That big spoiler in the back. If you just get in front of a truck in a corner, man, the front end just does not want to turn.
I like Josh's motivation right here. He's trying to block, it seems like, Jonathan Wright's lane. And obviously, to your point, yeah, the dirty air and everything else that's involved, that could play a big factor. John Wright trying to find that clean air right now. Doesn't really gain a whole lot right there, but he's still half a second back with 4 laps to go in stage 1.
Yeah, and I like that move from John Wright's perspective. You obviously know what Josh is going to do, right? Josh is going to kind of stay up high. You're not going to pass him around the outside. So try the bottom. See what it does.
That's right.
See how your truck handles around the bottom 15 laps into the run. What do you have to do to kind of make it better? See, obviously losing a little time, but the time that he's losing is the kind of intel that he's gaining over the long run. Like, kind of, okay, if I see somebody doing exactly what Josh is doing, how can I kind of counteract that? As I'll tell you what, both these boys are catching that Ford truck of Nick Lights. Nick Lights has fallen over 2 seconds back from the leaders.
Josh Larson got into the wall just a little bit right there. Might kill him on time on this lap. Hold on to it still. Nick Lights, you're not lying, Frankie. I mean, he did fall off pretty hard. Looks like I'm getting a word that Josh Purcell might have crashed here. Let's take a look. See what actually happened. Oh, man, him and Melvin Young get together. Purcell holds on to it. Comes down to the track. Oh, man, a really hard hit. Did not bring out the caution, so we stay green. But blown engine, that's unfortunately going to be the end of Josh Purcell's day, it looks like. Unfortunate right there.
Yeah, not something you want to see, 18, 19 laps into the race. And, we wish Josh, well, for that engine bill. I don't know if that engine bill is gonna be nice with him, but hopefully he's back next week. We miss him.
Yes, sir. One thing that is definitely nice for sure is Mark Whitley here again, coming around turn 3 and 4, about to win stage number 1. And here he is, Mark Whitley, coming across the line ahead of Joseph Mealy and will win stage number 1. Awesome job. Yellow flag is out for the stage.
I'm hearing there might have been some contact between John Wright and Josh Larson. Hearing there might have been some contact while we were watching the leader. Josh Larson on the radio, not very happy with John Wright.
Man, oh man, let's go back and take a look. Oh yeah, yellow flag right here.
You maybe got to go back all the way to turn 2 on either lap 19 or lap 20. You see the right side is very KO'd.
Here it is. So we saw Josh Larson in front of John Wright right here. Quick crossover move, looks like John Wright's trying to make. Oh man, Jonathan Wright. Woo! Gets involved with him right there. We'll go back and take a look at that real fast. But that's huge, Frankie. We talked about it. These two guys, we knew something was going to happen here.
Yeah, and it looks like Josh maybe got a little bit tight middle of the corner. John Wright had a nice run off the corner. See, this overhead shot should give us a good view of it.
Man,
Uh,
JD just comes up.
yeah, I would say yeah. I mean, I can understand Josh's frustration right there.
Ah,
I can understand that. And unfortunately for Josh, that is a lot of damage. He pancaked the wall. That's
yeah.
gonna take some serious repair.
Yes,
And
sir.
even if he gets all that done, that truck unfortunately is never gonna drive the same.
No, unfortunately, it won't. Again, on this bigger track, draft is key. It definitely plays a role. So, right now, we'll see what he does here. Honestly, I mean, if I'm Josh, I would just sit here, fix all my damage, not go a lap down, and just kind of restart, see what happens. But honestly, that's huge, Frankie. Jonathan Wright got about 4 more points than Josh right there on the stage. So that increases his points by about 8. So, I'll tell you what, if Josh gets around back to JD, I got a feeling Jonathan Wright might have a bad day. Well, right now, Mark Whitley, again, leading off pit road, going to be leading the pack right here. Nick Lights playing around with Frankie there in the choose truck. Good job by these guys. We're going to hit a quick commercial break and thank our sponsors. We'll be right back and talk to Mark. All right, and there you see it. Josh Larson's beat up truck right now. Unfortunate for him. A lot of contact between him and Jonathan Wright. But right now, we're choosing these boys. A lot of these guys choosing the outside lane, inside lane. A lot going on here. Let's try and talk to Mark Whitley real fast, as he obviously led stage 1 and got his first win there. So, let's go and take. Oh, hold on now. I'm seeing a couple guys crashed. That always concerns me whenever I see the choose truck. So let's go back real fast and just make. Oh, okay. Sometimes looks like you just slow down enough. Perfect. Whoa, hold on. Mark Whitley coming down. Was about to try and talk to him, but some pit strategy involved right now. Interesting decision. Definitely, if I had to assume here, fuel strategy going to be coming to mind. So coming down, getting this fuel. A couple more guys along with him. Michael Lanphier we're seeing. Jonathan Wright back behind him. Josh Larson right there. So definitely some guys taking some fuel, topping off. Good calls by these guys for sure. And right now, we're going to see Jonathan Wright in front of Josh Larson. So I'll tell you what, stage 2 might have some electricity if those two boys get together. I've got a funny feeling. So what happens with that? Well, Mark Whitley comes back in. Going to be back behind the field. Joseph Mealy going to take over this race as P1. We were going to talk to Mark Whitley about a stage 1 win, but he came down pit road. I don't want to bring up these boys into the booth and distract them away from their pit cycles and pit road speeding or whatnot. So we're going to let them do their thing. A lot on the line today in Atlanta. Stage number 2 going to be ending on lap 50. So we're going to have 25 laps to go right now. Here we go. Joseph Mealy leads them off. Field's already spread out pretty. I'll tell you what. Ooh, second caution of the day already. Man, Anthony Williams in the grass in the front stretch. Unfortunate. So our first caution for incident does happen on lap 25. Anthony Williams here. Let's go back and take a look. Looks like on the restart. Oh, already sideways. Okay, let's go back even further. Hold on now. Oh man, big wreck. Let's go back to the green flag, and we'll just watch it from high up above in the drone cam. So right now we're gonna see Nick Simpson behind Thomas Meek. So far everything seems normal. What actually? Oh, Nick Simpson just turns right. Oh man, in front of Anthony Williams, Clinton Woodby, Mark Whitley right there on the inside avoids that. Great job by them. So 3-car incident looks like. Man, big mess right there. Super unfortunate for these guys. We'll go back one more time, take a look at it. We'll ride a longboard behind Nick Simpson, see actually what happened here. Might have missed a gear. Money shifted. Oof. Frankie, if you're back with us, what do you see?
Yeah, I just see a guy he just spun his tires. Really easy to do. If you go in the in car, you'll see the RPMs jump really high, and that's just a sign of him just spinning the rear tires. I mean, it's not like there hasn't been many people that have done this before, not including me. So,
ironically enough, here. But the new version, so it's all right. I guess it doesn't really count, but it counts for me, Frankie. Always joking around. So Nick Light's going to take over this lead right here for the caution right now. Looks like Josh Larson might be pitting again, so trying to fix all that damage. I would imagine right there, but again, trying to hold on to it. Anything can happen here. This race is not over yet. We're only a quarter of the way through, so again, big changes can happen. So Nick Light's back out front. Let's go actually while we're under yellow. Let's go and talk to Mark Whitley. See if we can bring him down in here.
Everybody behind us.
Hey, Mark, how's it going, man? Steve in the booth. Couldn't catch you for that stage 1. I saw you guys pit again, so didn't want to distract you, but. Man, you're looking pretty good. Obviously, won that stage 1. The playoff point doesn't matter because you're already onto the finale. So, what's it going to take, man, to win this race?
Going to take some luck. Going to take some ingenuity on strategy, I think. We're just trying something different. I mean, we have nothing to lose, so might as well go out there and try a funky strategy. Maybe it works, maybe it doesn't. But
yeah.
I know I wasn't expecting that little pile up there about right into it. So that little strategy about ended our night early. But I think we avoided everything and just came back down, just top back off. I mean, I think everybody's probably going to be pretty close to fine right now on gas. Might be a little close for them up there, but just trying something different. There ain't nothing to lose, so gonna try to get the win or bring him back the steering wheel pretty much.
All right, man. Sounds good. Hey, good luck the rest of the way, and we'll see where you end up.
Sounds good.
All right, Mark Whitley right there, led and won stage 1. Looking pretty good. He's got a point. I mean, hey, there's no need to worry about his playoffs. He's already going to he's already in the championship 4 next week. I'm sorry, 2 weeks from now in Auto Club. Next week is a week off, and could be a lot. Interesting how he says everybody should be good on fuel, but yet here's 4 more guys coming down to fuel. So this could be interesting right here. Obviously, maybe not as close as they would like, but regardless, here they are. So we're gonna go green on lap 30. So we'll have 20 laps to determine stage number 2. And Nick Lights, Joseph Mealy leading this group. Hey, I said it earlier. Look out, Nick Biddy. Currently in P4 on the outside row. Thomas Meeks on the inside. Watch out for these guys. These guys are hungry, right? I mean, Nick Biddy has never won, in the Truck Series. Thomas Meeks has never won in the Truck Series. These guys want these wins. And I feel like this kind of a race could be a race where we get a new winner, right? Because like you just said, or Mark just said, You know, they're trying different things. So trying different things sometimes obviously is experimental. Maybe that means they're not in the front, and that opens up chances for these guys to win. So could be a lot of fun for these guys. And here we go. Stage number 2 going to be continuing again. Green flag is in the air. Gonna watch this battle right here. Oh, Josh Larson does look to be pretty hurt. We want to make sure we catch up on him. Looks like he is actually falling back quite a bit, so definitely some damage there from the right side of his truck. Hopefully going to have some better luck later in this race, but back up front, Nick Lights.
Alrighty, I am back. I had to make a decent run from the cockpit of the car to the TV booth, but we are here right now.
Man, you get your Nikes on today, don't you?
Yeah, I was just about to hop out of the car, just about to put the headset on, and as soon as I was about to take my headset off, I heard some crashing, I heard some spinning, and I was like, "Oh no, not again!" I got to change into the fire suit again. Got to make sure to keep up with the safety regulations. Put the gloves on, put the Hans on, because we have seen in the past there have been people who have hit the choose truck.
That is true.
So we did not want any head or neck injuries. So we are good right now. We are here to talk about the racing. As I'll tell you what, interesting strategy from Mark Whitley. I'll tell you what, I don't know the fuel strategy by heart here, but what I will say is, if Mark Whitley thinks that he's going to be close, coming down and topping off and saying, you know what, I'm not going to take any chances, is probably a smart call in his position. Now, if I'm Nick Lights, Joseph Mealy, Thomas Meeks, I'm not doing that call because, you know, this is potential stage points, and that caution is going to help them. So I think that Mark Whitley made the correct decision by coming down and topping off, but I also do think that Nick Lights, Joseph Mealy, Nick Biddy, and Thomas Meeks, all 4 of those guys made the right decision by staying out and by just keeping track position.
Yes, sir. Well, right now, we're looking pretty good. Clinton Woodby right now currently in P7. Mark Whitley is still 2.5 seconds back of the leaders. He is catching, though. Not a whole lot, but he is catching for sure. Nick Lights currently in front. By the way, Frankie, we did learn about that Nick Simpson incident right there. Nick Simpson apparently having a potato chip grease incident led to the mishap. So he apologizes to no one. So just just an update.
Okay, so that's a little interesting. Maybe that's a first, eating potato chips inside a race car, especially driving at about 165, 170 mile an hour. That's pretty interesting, Nick. I think NASCAR might want to have a talk with you, but
yeah, Nick.
What I will say, baller move.
Absolutely, Nick earlier was definitely watching replays of season 3 of the Wheels America Cup Series because, again, I'll make the joke again, but he definitely did his best Frankie impression and did a damn good job. So,
yep, yeah, you had to go there.
Oh yeah, well, I mean, it's just it's Atlanta, so it's some things never change. Right now, man, I'll tell you what, Clinton Woodby, Melvin Young, trying to make a move around here. Honestly, Frankie, I like the outside lane here. I like the outside lane going into turn 1 and 2. Like that middle lane, and then turns 3 and 4, I'm riding the bottom.
Yeah, there's always been a distinct kind of line, especially into turn 3. Turn 3 is a really weird corner for me. I've never been able to get a hold of turn 3 here at Old Atlanta. Turn 1 and 2, that's my jam, but turn 3, I don't know. I've just never been able to get that down packed. And the sad part is, I'm not one of those guys that likes to ride the Larson line or run up against the wall.
Right.
I'm one of those Kevin Harvick guys. Like I like bottom feeding. I like going to the bottom, wrapping that left front along the white line, and just staying there. And 3 and 4 really invites that, but for some reason I personally have never been able to figure out turn 3.
Good point.
Here at Old Atlanta.
I mean, hey, you mentioned jam. I'll tell you what, right now, Nick Biddy, this is his jam. I talked about him earlier, Frankie, pre-race. I said, Nick Biddy, watch out. He's kind of that guy who needs to win. I like the strategy. You know, you've got nothing to lose except the race, right? But that's kind of the strategy that's kind of nice because it's the only thing you get to focus on. And right now, Frankie, he just passed Joseph Mealy. I mean, passed him. Wasn't strategy, wasn't whatever, just on speed. So Nick Biddy's dangerous today, Frankie.
Yeah, the only thing that would concern me if I was Nick Biddy was Joseph did run Mark Whitley down from the long run. I feel like Joseph Mealy was a tad bit quicker on the long run. Maybe that's Mark Whitley kind of saving his stuff and being conservative, but it didn't look like Joseph Mealy had a bad short-term car, like a short-run car, but he definitely had a long-run truck. Excuse me. He definitely had the truck for the long run. And you see these boys battling side by side. I think Joseph Mealy's kind of saying, you know what, I just want to get by. And he wants to be out front in P2, and he's going to make that move on Nick Biddy.
You would think so. Right now, Nick Biddy might get that momentum on the outside, but doesn't quite look it. Ooh, little move right there, but overall looking pretty strong right here. Hey, speaking of strong, Thomas Meeks right now holding on to P4, excuse me. But right now, Mark Whitley, he's coming.
Yeah, I was about to say, I don't think that's going to last very long with Mark Whitley behind him, but Thomas Meeks doing a great job tonight. He does need a lot of stage points, but I'll tell you what, he's beating John Wright in that category so far right now. He's about 4 positions higher. He's still got about, according to my math, he's about still probably 10, 11 points off of Jonathan Wright. So I do think that Thomas Meeks has to definitely go lead a lap and definitely got to go try to be as fast as you can and try to win the race because, I mean, 10 points, especially in a 13-car field now, that's going to be a lot to overcome.
That's right. Trouble still existing for Josh Larson. Was telling me earlier that I guess storms are going through his area and was having some internet connectivity issues, but right now, obviously bigger issues on the track. Oh, man, right now, truck is pretty beat up. I'm sure very frustrated. And right now, currently in P13, kind of needs a miracle here to try and advance into the next session. Obviously, we're seeing some blinking there. So unfortunate for one of our championship contenders, but sometimes these races, man, they can be daunting.
Yeah, and that situation that he got put in, nothing really of his fault. That's just, you know, it's very easy to get super tight, especially with these generation of race cars. And, you know, John Wright just made a simple mistake, got super tight. And I'll tell you what's really tight. These two boys right here, Nick Biddy and Mark Whitley, these boys are getting nice and tight off the corner. Nick Biddy doing his best impersonation of, I would say, Ross Chastain or Ryan Newman right now, and kind of being I wouldn't say a roadblock because that's not very nice, but I would say being a thorn in his side a nicer way than saying a roadblock. Is that a little nicer?
I mean, maybe so, but Nick Biddy putting up a fight, and he is looking strong. Oh, hold on now. Woo!
Yeah, that's a friendly tap. I think Nick Biddy will tolerate that on lap 45. Now, if we're talking lap 95, I don't think he's tolerating that. But Mark Whitley getting the job done. He's going to move up to P3. He's going to have his eyes set out for Joseph Mealy.
This pack right here, we haven't talked a whole lot about Michael Lanphier right now. Solid performer. I mean, right now, P7 hasn't really got into any issues in these playoffs. Just isn't quite, like in the front of the championship drivers, but also he's not in the back either. He's kind of in the middle. But obviously right now, below the cutoff line, unfortunately for him. But again, has to make a move here. Has to try and win this race or get these stage points currently in P7. He's got a couple guys right in front of him trying to go for the same point, so has to make it happen.
Yeah, Mike Lanphier just, again, has been one of those guys that he doesn't usually find trouble, but it's just the problem is the speed just isn't there. Now, whether it's something he can do or something that he can't control, it just isn't there. And I'll tell you what, props to him for making this next round, especially after last round. It didn't look like for about most of that round he was going to make it out, but he's putting up a good fight this round. And unfortunately, it's looking more and more like he's got to be on that top step of the podium
It's a good point.
To move on to the championship 4.
Hey, I mean, keep in mind, too, we started the season with 43 truck drivers. So obviously, as the season goes and playoffs start, people drop off, right? But if you're a top 8 driver, that takes a lot. You know, it takes obviously a lot of endurance, a lot of just showing up. And sometimes that pays dividends. And right now, I mean, it's no small feat to be in this championship hunt.
Yeah, you gotta give it everything, and unfortunately, it's just not meant to be so far for Mike Lanfear. You never know, Atlanta, especially if you get one of those late race cautions, it could spice things up, and we'll see how this next stage goes, but those 50 laps, we'll probably see something close to a one stop. I would say it's going to be really close one-stop race.
Speaking of close, Joseph Mealy is right here. He cut up so much in this last lap for the stage, but isn't quite going to do it. Nick Light's going to be your stage 2 winner here in front of his teammate Joseph Mealy. Great job by Nick Lights there, winning stage number 2 on lap 50. We're halfway at the old school Atlanta. Looking pretty good here. Joseph Mealy in P2. Mark Whitley going to be in P3. A lot different grid than we saw in stage 1, so very interesting to see how these guys deal with coming up next. But Nick Biddy in P4, solid points right there. Thomas Meeks in P5. So far, great job. Nick Biddy coming down already. Might be out of fuel right here. That might be an EOL penalty, unfortunately, for coming down a little too early.
Yeah, he might be just a bit out of fuel. Might have thought going around once more was going to cut it too close. As unfortunately, going for that stage win is going to kind of get him in a bit of a hole here, starting this next stage.
Exactly. And right now, Jonathan Wright did finish that in P8, I believe. So gained 2 more points on to go above the line. So right now, if my math is correct, right now, I mean, Jonathan Wright is in the playoffs, but it all depends on who wins this race. Most likely, I mean, can Nick Biddy squeeze one out? Can Thomas Meeks, snag it? It all depends. But right now, these boys are going to pit. We're going to watch them real quick, and then we'll go and thank our sponsors and talk to Nick Lights if we can. A lot of moves here, Frankie. What do you do? I mean, obviously, full tank. Do you take 2 tires yet? Is that even an option today?
Ooh, that'd be a bold scenario, but I'd say at least for now, you got to take 4.
It's a good call right now. Oh, Clinton Woodby, we're looking at him. Missed his pit box quite a bit. Ended up having to go into full reverse, so Mark Whitley beating off Joseph Mealy there for P2. Nick Lights did get that P1 spot. It's a great job for him. We're going to go thank our sponsors real quick. We'll be right back. All right, folks, we are back here in Atlanta. the previously repaved Atlanta. Man, I'll tell you what. I made a joke earlier. I do apologize for the Harpoon Design commercial. Awesome job by them. I always joke about it. My production value is clearly not as it's definitely not as good as Harpoon Design paint schemes. So go and check them out, harpoondesign.com. Tell you what, if you want paint schemes as good as Mark Whitley's right here, you got to go there. Go check them out. Awesome job. They've worked a lot with us for the series, but also to both series, really, the Cup Series and the Truck Series. But right now, look at that old Jeff Gordon throwback on the truck. Love that, man. Harpoon Design Racing Team. But go check them out, harpoondesign.com. Get your paints, all of it. Do a really good job. Right now, we're going to be going green. 45 laps to go to decide this race. Sun's coming down. This track has no lights, so we're not going to be under darkness, but we will finish under daylight. Nice sunset-y late afternoon race today for these guys. Going to be a good time. So right now, Mark Whitley going to be leading him off. Excuse me, Nick Lights. He did win that stage, going to be doing that. So don't have enough time to talk to him real quick because we were talking about Harpoon and how great they are. So, yeah, a couple of the guys too. I don't see Charles Balance here, so we can't I can't show you his amazing Young's Auto Body car. Go check those out too, youngsautobody.com. Great guys in North Carolina, South Carolina. Great auto body design work. Pretty sure all these beat up trucks at the end of the day, go and see them and get them right in top shape. So right now, pace car is going to pull off. Nick Light's going to lead these boys back into the green flag. Here we go. Nick Lights gets a great start. Man, Joseph Mealy going to try and sweep out on the outside. A lot going on back here. 2 wide. Maybe 3 wide here in a second. Nick Biddy making a move. Josh Larson still slow there on the inside of the beat-up truck. Great move so far. Mike Corvo, I haven't talked much about him, but that truck, man. Whoa, hold on now. Hits the wall pretty hard right there, coming out of 4. Definitely some damage there on the outside. Not good, but holding on to it. Josh Larson might have gotten that truck fixed just enough. It looks competitive right now. Hasn't been falling back as much as he has been previously, but he's got Mike Corvo right there.
Yeah, hearing some reports on Josh's car, he did say that he was not saving gas when you were seeing him like basically running the short way around. He went full throttle, and you can see right there he is down on engine power. You see people passing him like he's a part of the car, and unfortunately for Josh Larson, he's gonna maybe try to meddle around here. As we see, we might see some action here. Who's that behind him?
Man, that's Melvin Young right there behind him. But John Wright also having some issues, it looks like. Can't really quite tell what's going on with him, but he right now is currently showing in 13th place, back at the pack.
And might have came down again, try to get some gas. We got a little skirmish here. See Josh Larson trying to get out of the way. Man, I tell you what, you got to feel for Josh Larson. You can kind of just see that's his spot right there, right in front. That's his main rival, and unfortunately, he didn't have the truck. He doesn't have the horsepower to do it anymore.
That's right. You can hope for a kind of a miracle here, but you got to race it out, see what happens. Back up front, Nick Light's doing really good, 0.8 of a second lead against his teammate Joseph Mealy. Joseph Mealy right now, again, 0.8 back. Nick Light's pretty much locked in at this point. Again, really just seemed to kind of show up today, get a couple points, and off he goes. So P2 finish in stage 1, and he won stage 2 right here. So Nick Light's going to be locked into the championship for next week. So very exciting news there as far as Mark Whitley, Nick Lights. Joseph Mealy, again, was +9 entering this race. And again, really solid outings right now. So as long as he has a pretty good finish here, he'll be locked in as well. So that number 4 spot, Frankie, Who's it going to be? Right now, I mean, we know Jonathan Wright is ahead of Josh Larson points-wise, but doesn't quite have the car to win. I mean, does Nick Biddy, just Thomas Meeks, do they have anything?
I'll tell you what, though. The guy that I'm looking at is Thomas Meeks. He did not get as many stage points as he would want in Stage 1, but Stage 2, he absolutely bossed it in Stage 2. Got some playoff points, or not playoff points, some stage points, excuse me, more than Jonathan Wright, so that gap decreased, and right now he's in a pretty good spot. John Wright 7 positions back. I still think Thomas Meeks has to at least move up one more spot to really be considered, and right now he's about 2 seconds back from the leader, about a second back from Mealy. I don't know if that's going to get the job done, but I'll tell you what, if it doesn't, still, hats off to Thomas Meeks. He's doing everything he can tonight.
Yes, sir. Might try and steal away a win, but again, Mark Whitley finds himself in P9 right now.
Yeah,
obviously
I'll tell you what. Sorry to cut you off, Steve.
No, tell me.
He's been falling back. He started P3, and he is falling back to 9th. Uncharacteristic for Mark Whitley. Is there a little bit of a sense of fuel strategy going on?
Yeah, but I mean, there probably is, Frankie, but there's no way you're going to go 40 laps right now on fuel. So even if you save, I don't think that's really enough.
I think what he wants to do is he wants to make this a one-stopper, but he doesn't want to make it a one-stopper where he's got to save a lap or two at the end. He wants to go full blast at the end, no holds barred. I think that's what he's trying to do, at least to save a couple laps, maybe save the tires as well. He's got a little drafting partner here, Jonathan Wright. Maybe try to hang on to the back of him, try to save that fuel.
And we know Mark has the speed, obviously, to catch back up to the front, but at the same time, too, you don't want to fall back so much where after you pit, now you've got 7, 8, 10 seconds to catch back up and not have enough laps to do it.
Yeah, it's a really interesting game, and we've seen it time and time again. I mean, heck, even last week I was a part of that game in Indianapolis, and it's so tricky to get right, and you got to be absolutely precise with your fuel saving numbers. You got to be precise on the gaps. You got to be precise about everything. And Mark Whitley unfortunately got it wrong. Well, unfortunately for him, fortunately for me, he got it wrong last week at Indy. But I'll tell you what, if I was in his shoes, I'd be smiling ear to ear because he's doing the right thing. He doesn't have to worry about stage points. He doesn't have to worry about finishing position. He's moved on. Hell, why not try to go for another win?
That's right. And right now in the chat, I don't know what's going on. I don't know if this is friendly beef or not. This is kind of like a Jerry Springer episode. Rest in peace, Jerry. But, I mean, Andrew, and we got Wild Will here in the chat, man. Woo. I kind of want to see more beef. Kind of like reading these comments over here. It's pretty funny. Speaking of which, Nick Simpson right now, P6. We saw him spinning out early in stage number 2. And right now, currently in P6, looking pretty good. That truck, not a lot of damage. That back bumper has a dent in it, but overall, pretty strong.
Yeah, after that early spin, doesn't look like that truck has a ton of damage. So as long as the engine is going all right for that 46 banana scheme, not banana mesquite. What am I saying?
What did you say?
I accidentally said banana mesquite, and I was like, "What?
That's not a thing."
I know that's not a thing. I know that's not a thing. I think we've seen. I think I know what that sound is, and I have a feeling I know what one of these lovely viewers is. Mr. Matthew Smith.
Yeah, Matthew Smith. Matthew, this is for you, buddy.
The dark horse.
Yep, we love to see it. Unfortunately, I'm not one of those people.
I'll tell you what, Matt Smith in the chat, Season 1 champion of the Wheels America Cup Series. Looking pretty good. Unfortunately knocked out, or about to be knocked out, potentially, at Atlanta on Thursday. So, Thursday night, we're going to be, again, back at the Wheels America Cup Series here at Atlanta. The same version of this track. Going to be a lot of fun. Determining who their championship 4 are going to be. So, a lot of fun there. But right now, Nick Lights putting on a show currently. Joseph Mealy has still maintained that 8.5 or 8/10 second back. Hasn't really made a move, hasn't really fallen back, kind of just sitting right there. But Thomas Meeks 5 seconds back. Nick Biddy, Anthony Williams, and Biddy cooking up.
Yeah, I would say the big thing for these drivers is they got to make lap 75. If they can make lap 75, they can make it to the end, because that means they would have ran more laps than what they would have.
That's
right.
right.
They're kind of trying to split the stage in half is what I'm trying to say. I don't want to overcomplicate things, but
what are you really trying to say, Frankie?
What I'm really trying to say is these boys need to pit at lap 75, lap 76. If they truly want to make it. You don't believe me? All right. Sorry. You don't believe me.
Frankie, a resident driver, trying to be a champion for the first time, Frankie. Coming up Thursday. I mean, hey, Cup Series in the Cup cars. Oh, Thomas Meeks, Nick Biddy getting real close there. We'll finish that conversation in a second, but man, these are heating up. 29 laps to go. What are they going to do? These boys have got to win this race. Thomas Meeks, Nick Biddy. What are they going to do? They can't wreck each other, that's for sure.
Yeah, that's for sure. I don't know what they're going to do. I know what they have to do, and they have to win this race. Definitely from Nick Biddy's side, he has to win this race. The problem is, they're about 6 seconds back. I don't know if that's how their pace is, if they've just fallen off, or maybe they're saving some fuel, or they're maybe just saving their tires a little bit. But I don't see how. I think they're really close on fuel, and I'll tell you what's getting really close right now, and that's the battle for the lead.
That's right.
Joseph Mealy has pulled to within about 6 truck lengths of Nick Lights.
That's true. He cut that lead in half. It was 8/10 a second ago. Now it's 4/10. So Nick might be burning up his stuff or maybe getting ready to pit. It's tough to tell. But Frankie, like you said, pit road window is lap 75. But I mean, if you pit on lap 75, do you have enough to go the rest of the way comfortably? Keep in mind too, green, white, checkered flag. That could be, that could factor in.
I've never heard of a green, white flag. I've heard of a green, white checkered.
I don't know what you call it, but it could happen. Okay.
Yes, the green, white checker, the GWC, as we drivers like to call it, could happen, and that in itself plays a ton of strategy, because we only have one attempt at that GWC, green, white, checkered.
That's right.
We only got one attempt, and that really just holds people kind of in a box, I would say. It's like, do you want to pit here, or do you want to kind of just stay out, hope for a quick yellow, and that's it, the race is over.
That's right. Oh, man, Michael Lanphier crosses over Mark Whitley. This pack, Frankie, is heating up. These guys are all close together. We're seeing guys that are falling back, but also guys who are speeding up. So, I mean, something's got to give.
Yeah, Mark Whitley is one of those guys that seems to be speeding up, and he did save some fuel. We did see that. He did drop back to about 9-10 seconds, but he's made his way back up to about 7.9 tenths of a second back from our leader, Nick Lights. He's looking to make some moves. He's going to start with Nick Biddy here. It's going to go up to P3, but he's got about 8 seconds, really, for the most part. He's got about 8 seconds to...
Whoa, Mike Gorvo come down pit road, but way too fast and hit the pit wall pretty hard on the inside. We saw that live, unfortunately for them.
We got a yellow.
Yellow flag.
Yellow. Might have been Nick Biddy.
Oh, man, Nick Biddy. Mike Lanphier. I took us away from the action because I saw that Mike Gorvo was having a bit of an issue there on his end, but unfortunate. Our second caution for incident. We'll go back and take a look here, but man... And just when Josh Larson was coming down to pit road, that might be a factor, Frankie. Just came down pit road before the yellow came out, so we'll see how that plays into his hand. But yellow flag right here for Nick Biddy, it sounds like. Oh, man, Mike Lanphier just kind of comes up. Let's go back and take a look. I don't know why I said that in a southern accent, but, oh, I'm wrong. Nick Biddy hits the wall. Michael Lanphier almost takes the corner too hard. We'll go back and take a look at that from our drone cam. If that is a good, suitable camera for us. Looks like it might not be. Let's check the chopper. Here we go. We'll go back a bit. So Nick Biddy, we'll go back even further, actually. Nick Biddy right here. Both of these guys right here. Up high, Nick Biddy kind of getting out of the groove here. Going to hit the wall. You're seeing Michael Lanphier on the bottom. I mean, Mike comes up, but that's tough for me. I mean, Mike, the whole time, Nick Biddy is on the outside. Yeah, I mean, Mike almost took that corner exit as if he thought Biddy was not next to him anymore. So that's unfortunate right there for sure. And actually, come to think of it, not real sure why that brought out a yellow, because neither of these boys spun out or really were sideways. So interesting for sure. But at the end of the day, man, we have 23 laps to go. Right in the middle, right at the beginning of pit stops, is where this is going to take place. So this could be massive. Nick Biddy, unfortunately, that looks like it's going to ruin his day for sure. Right side of that truck is pretty beat up. Definitely unfortunate. Michael Lanphier. Truck not as bad. Right side of the car might be... Okay, so some damage, but not as bad as Nick Biddy, unfortunately. So we'll see how this plays out. Not a good finish for these guys, but right here, 22 laps to go. Everyone did come down to pit. Nick Lights right now and leading the pack. Mark Whitley right now in P2. Joseph Mealy in third. And then Jonathan Wright right there in P4. So, again, has some right side damage, but right now he is in prime position to be that fourth driver in the Championship 4. The 4 playoff drivers, and again, on the left side of your screen, everybody in red are the championship drivers, so keep that in mind. And I got a funny feeling the top 4 drivers we see here in the playoffs are going to be our top 4 championship 4 drivers in 2 weeks for Auto Club. So definitely should be a lot of fun to watch that and see how that transpires. Obviously, we have Thomas Meeks, still in the picture. He could play spoiler here, but he's got to win. That's the only thing. Can Thomas Meeks win this race? Right now, fuel strategy is going to be kind of thrown out the window because now everyone pits. Everyone can make it all the way out. So, definitely tough. But Michael Lanphier has damage. Nick Biddy with damage. Josh Larson with damage. So all the guys that really needed points and who were underneath that cutoff line are having troubles at this point, except Thomas Meeks. So if anybody wants to challenge at this point, those top 4 drivers, it's got to be Thomas Meeks. And right now, we're going to get ready for the choose. This could be massive. This is going to come down to... Here we go. Let's take a look. Choose truck. Beautifully designed by our friends over at harpoondesign.com. Brantley over there with Harpoon does a great job. Thomas Meeks going to choose the outside. Nick Simpson outside. A lot of guys on the outside. So right there, Mike Corvo going to choose the inside, get and gain a couple more spots. So great job by them. And that's it. Choose is over. Nick Light's going to lead them off on the inside. This should be pretty fun. 20 laps to go. We're going to get the green flag on. Tell you what, this is going to heat up. At this point, Mark Whitley, Nick Lights already locked into the championship, so what's it going to take? Nick Lights leads them off. And as we go back green, let's do the old Bring the Noise, sponsored by HarpoonDesign.com. And we're back, and Joseph Mealy has taken the lead away from his teammate Nick Lights, excuse me. Right now, looking real good, primed, in position to try and get his big win, his second win of the season here for Joseph Mealy. Can he do it right in front of his teammate? Nick Lights in P2, Mark Whitley in P3 has fallen back a little bit from the restart, but so far looking pretty strong. Jonathan Wright, right now, if he stays in this spot right here, he will be your fourth driver in the Championship 4. These top 4, this could be it. Thomas Meeks has to win the race. But right now, under contention with Clinton Woodby and Anthony Williams. What's he going to do here?
Alrighty, I'm back. Sorry, folks. Had to rush out of the fire suit and get back to the booth. But yeah, I did hear that last question though. Thomas Meeks does. I mean, I think at this point, where John Wright is, he has to win. Unfortunately, he's about 2 seconds back, and unfortunately, that gap is only increasing.
That's right. A couple of updates real quick. Josh Larson right now currently don't even see him on the track. Actually, might be blinking out or having some connectivity issues, but unfortunately, with his race, he will not be advancing into the Championship 4. Unfortunate for him. Nick Biddy, again, we saw heavy contact with him and Michael Lanphier. Truck looks pretty decent right now, but again, 10th place, has to win the race to advance, and right now just not really in position to do it with 13 laps to go. Michael Lanphier, the other driver involved in that, P9 currently, just doesn't have the speed, but needs to win. Don't see him advancing either, unfortunately for him, so his championship run will come to an end today, barring some kind of a miracle. But again, we talked about it, Thomas Meeks right now, P5 currently, needs that W. That's the only thing stopping Jonathan Wright from advancing into the Championship 4 at Auto Club in 2 weeks.
Yeah, it's the only thing. It's the only thing that can dethrone John Wright from being in the Championship 4. As obviously the top 3 have kind of broken away, especially the front 2. We're starting to try to pull away from Mark Whitley, but I think Nick Lights is going to maybe play blocker or at least try to hold up Mark Whitley as much as he can for Joseph Mealy. Joseph Mealy, I will say, though, has had the better car on the long run. So maybe Joseph Mealy, maybe not going 100%, but maybe going something like 90%.
Yeah.
Or 95%. Just going fast enough to kind of keep Nick behind him and keep Mark behind him, but maybe just trying to save those tires. Because, again, 10 laps, 11 laps, it's a decent time here with tire life, so that right front after 5 laps is not going to be the same as it once was. But I'll tell you what, Joseph Mealy still doing a great job. John Wright has kind of fallen back a tad bit from this top 3, so it is a 3-horse race here that'll settle it out for the win.
That's right.
Unless that favorable C word, not the one rhyming with bunt, the one rhyming with,
whoa,
I don't know. What would you rhyme with? The thing that says yellow. What would you rhyme it with?
There's not a word that I can think of right now, but either way, yeah, I'll tell you what. These boys, these top 3, I feel like if you're in their cockpit, right? You've been doing the math. You know, kind of where you are, where you finished in stage 1 and 2. These 3 know they're advancing, right? So at this point, it's just kind of it's kind of like a second game. They know they're in the Championship 4. All they want to do now is win the race, right? It's bragging rights at this point. So who's going to get it? And right now, we've seen these 3 battle it out all season, and we have 9 laps to go.
I'll jump in a little bit. I slightly disagree with the Mealy one. I think he doesn't want to wreck. I think he'll do everything he can to, at the very least, finish this race. Now, do I think, is it possible that he will make it? Absolutely. I think has obviously the highest chance besides the 2 behind him. But I don't think he wants to put himself in a position where that could be in jeopardy. If he stays right there, even if he gives up a spot, you may lose a win, but at the end of the day, you're not giving up much besides a win. Because next week, those playoff points mean absolutely nothing.
That's right.
It is a 4-horse battle. It's a 4-horse battle next week. Sorry to kind of cut off there. There'll be a 4-horse battle there next week, barring anything happening tonight.
And here's the thing, Frankie. I mean, if you're a teammate, oh, Mark Whitley gets into the wall right there out of turn 2. Gonna slow him down for sure. I mean, if you're Nick Lights, I mean, obviously you know that you're in, right? You have had multiple wins. Are you kind of blocking here for Joseph Mealy so that, hey, Mealy, goes and gets the win, but, as your teammate Nick, you kind of ensure that he gets himself locked in no matter what?
Yeah, I would say if this was like 2 laps ago, I would say absolutely. But now that Mark Whitley did tag the wall a little bit, now he's about 8/10 back and trying to close. I don't know. I mean, if he gets close enough, then I think Nick may do it. But I think if Mark Whitley is out there far enough, if Nick Light sees a chance, he's going to take it.
That's right. Some battles right here. Right now, Nick Simpson right behind Anthony Williams and Clinton Woodby. Some great racing right here together. We've seen good racing, Frankie, as far as, driver to driver. Some mistakes, some things like that. But overall, a lot of respect so far being shown on track. But some good stuff here in the old school Atlanta.
Yeah, we've seen some good stuff so far. As big shout out to those 3 you just saw on the screen. Anthony Williams, Clinton Woodby, Nick Simpson, not in the playoffs, but just coming out here and showing everyone kind of what they got. And, just trying to see how they compete with Joseph Mealy, Nick Lights, Mark Whitley, John Wright, all the playoff guys. I just want to see how they compete. As unfortunately, that's another gut punch for that 51 machine of Josh Larson.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, going to go 2 laps down. And at that point, especially with 4 to go, it is looking very, very bleak.
Isn't going to quite get it done, but, I mean, definitely unfortunate for him. But I guess the silver lining is, hey, on Thursday, he's going, he's doing the same thing, trying to get himself into the Championship 4. Should be a lot of fun and excitement there for him as well. So the mission isn't over, but hey, Frankie, we have 3 laps to go, but Jonathan Wright is right behind Josh Larson. So, yeah, I'm not saying something could happen here, but I'm saying something could happen here.
Yeah, I don't know. I just don't see it. I mean, I just do not see that happening. And even if that were to happen, unless there's only one way that's something that could knock John Wright out of the playoffs right now, and that's if he finishes basically dead last. And unfortunately, that's not going to happen.
That's right.
But we'll see. As you see right there, Josh, I will say Josh not pulling over and letting him go like he did with the other 3.
We're going to watch on board for sure. It doesn't give up that bottom line like John Wright's kind of poking out for, so potentially some mild respect being shown here. We'll just follow on board for a little bit, but right now, final lap.
Yeah, I was about to say we're coming up on the white flag, and Nick Lights is right there. He's not moving away.
No, he's not. White flag means that this is the final lap. A yellow will not change anything. Joseph Mealy, I'll tell you what, he's hungry. He wants these wins. This might be the momentum it needs, or he needs, to get this championship in 2 weeks at Auto Club. Nick Light's going to try and dive it in real hard, but can't quite get it done. So Joseph Mealy is going to be your winner here for the AdminBoxx 150 from Atlanta Motor Speedway. Great job by him. Solid win. He's done so great at these 1.5 mile tracks. Definitely one of his specialties for sure. And a great win for him. His teammate Nick Light's coming up P2. Mark Whitley in 3rd position. Oh, hold on now. Having some early fun maybe. I don't know. But Jonathan Wright holds on to that P4. So great job by him. So this will be your Championship 4 drivers. Joseph Mealy, Nick Lights, Mark Whitley, and Jonathan Wright will go for the Harpoon Design Truck Series Championship in 2 weeks at Auto Club. Going to be a great time. Thomas Meeks rounds up the field top 5. Great run for him. Just quite not enough points for him on the day to advance. Anthony Williams, solid performance right there, P6. Nick Simpson 7th. Clinton would be 8th. Michael Lanphier 9th. And Melvin Young 10th. Awesome job. But Joseph Mealy, man of the hour. Go ahead and take that screenshot. Put it on your desktop. Great win for him. Joseph Mealy. I'll tell you what, Frankie, Joseph Mealy looked pretty good today. We had 3 different winners. Stage 1, Mark Whitley. Stage 2, Nick Lights. And then the race winner, Joseph Mealy. So these guys kind of showing off their strengths the entire time. They know what they're doing. They know how to get it done. And listen, I mean, it's 3 winners. And then, man, I'll tell you what, a strong contender in Jonathan Wright to try and get this championship in 2 weeks at Auto Club. I mean, I honestly have no idea who's going to win. I have no favorite.
Yeah, I don't think I really have a favorite either. But I will say though, I think the dark horse, for lack of a better word, will be Jonathan Wright. Auto Club, we just don't know what's going to happen. I will say though, John Wright has had some short run speed, and I feel like he will be a player that nobody is expecting out of the 4.
That's right. Auto Club, obviously a very aero dependent track, so that could play into a big role too. I mean, it might just come down to, hey, did you hold on to your, hold on to your truck? Is it have all the fenders on it, right? Put yourself in the best position to win that race. Well, right now we're going to thank our sponsors real fast, and then we'll come back and we'll talk to our top 3. Actually, we'll talk to the top 4, all 4 of the championship drivers, and get their opinions on their race in 2 weeks at Auto Club. Be right back. Alrighty, we're back from Atlanta Motor Speedway for the Harpoon Design Truck Series, and right now, Joseph Mealy is your winner today. A great win for him. Mark Whitley, Nick Lights, Joseph Mealy, and Jonathan Wright going to be your Championship 4 drivers in 2 weeks at Auto Club. A great job by them. We're going to bring in all 4 of them. We'll start actually with, I think we'll go 4 down to 1. We'll just go 4 to 1, and we'll kind of go from there. Get the impressions from each and every one of these drivers. So Mark Whitley, we're going to talk to him real fast. See if he has a second to just give us a quick nod, but move him down here. Hey, Jonathan Wright, Steve in the booth. You got me?
Yeah, I got you, buddy.
Hey, dude. Well, hey, we did the math, and you're going to be our 4th championship driver here in 2 weeks at Auto Club. How do you feel, man?
Yeah, that's pretty awesome. I was sitting here trying to do the math in my head, but I ain't very good at math.
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, Larson, Lanfear, Biddy all had pretty bad days, and Meeks, obviously. So the only person who really had to beat was Larson as far as points wise, and that all kind of ended in stage 1.
Yeah.
So
that was my doing on his bad day. I kind of got the apron a little bit, got tight, and put him in the fence and tore his truck up. So that was my bad. I hate I did that. I was upset that I did that. That's not how I wanted to do it. But at the end of the day, it's just a racing deal, and we'll move on from it.
Yes, sir. Definitely unfortunate. But I mean, hey, listen, Auto Club in 2 weeks. We have next week off for the break week, the calm before the storm. What's it going to take? I mean, obviously, smaller crowd, but at the same time, draft dependent track in these trucks. I mean, you're the dark horse, man. So what's it going to take?
Well, I am definitely a dark horse. I'm going to have to have the race of my life to beat those other 3. They're really fast, but I'm going to go out there with the old F-150 and I'm going to give her hell.
Love to hear it, dude. Hey,
and
good luck.
I'll do anything to win. So if I just give me a sniff of the lead, that's all I ask for.
Yes. Yes, sir. We do know that. That'll definitely be one of the storylines entering that race. But you're right. I mean, hey, listen, it's a championship. You know, you made it that far. It's one race. Anything can happen. And listen, I mean, that's, you know, what's it going to take to win? And if you get put into that position, then, hey, you know what? All the gloves are off. So,
Yep. I may have to pull a Ryan Newman back in, I think it was 2014.
Exactly. Yep. Well, cool, man. Hey, good luck. Good job today in the P4. We'll obviously see you in 2 weeks in Auto Club. And yeah, man, congrats.
All right. Thanks, bud.
Alrighty. So Jonathan Wright right there. I'll tell you what, man, I've seen him in the Cup Series. I mean, me and him have duked it out ourselves. I mean, I've unfortunately been on the giving end of what he's talking about, you know, at Talladega in season 2. I might have spun him out for the win, but you know, but I think that's just, you know, me and him have very similar racing styles. You know, if I can get the win, you know, some things might change or it might happen, but either way, Jonathan Wright, great job by him. We'll bring in our P3 finisher, Mark Whitley, who also happens to be making his way into the Championship 4. So great job. Actually, I don't see him in anywhere. So, all right. I don't see him. Okay. Well, I guess we're not going to talk to him just yet. I don't see him in any of our channels. So we can't bring him in. So we'll bring in our P2 finisher, Nick Lights. Let's bring him in. I've got a little present for him too in just a second. You guys are going to get a laugh out of this. So Nick Lights will bring him in. Move to the on air. Hey, Nick Lights, man. How's it going today, dude?
And our first caution. And this is going to be for Nick
I'm
Lights.
doing good, Steve. How are you?
You already had it queued up before I did. I love that.
I like that. That's good.
Yeah. Well, I mean, hey, you know, obviously you had a great day in Kansas in the Craftsman Truck Series, so pretty sweet there. Might have brought the first caution, so we had to throw in a little treat right there for the soundboard. So, but yeah, man. Hey, obviously today, I mean, P2 on the day, one stage 2 had a great car, obviously. And, I mean, listen, you were pretty much good to go, you know, for the race, or for the Championship 4 anyway, entering this race, you were 30 plus getting in. But I mean, midway through the race, we all kind of knew, okay, well, he's in. So, I mean, you are in Auto Club. I mean, great run today. Obviously your teammate Joseph winning, but, thinking about Auto Club in 2 weeks, I mean, what's it going to take?
To beat that 7. That's it. I think it's gonna be, you know, a tough race between me and him for that spot. He's definitely fast all year long. He was, you know, fast out front today. Just that I think a wrong pit cycle got him and ruined his track position, and that's how me and Joe managed to stay up front. So I think just staying in front of him at Auto Club again
Yeah.
will hopefully get us that championship.
Yeah, that clean air. I mean, I haven't actually have done any laps at Auto Club in these trucks in quite a while, so I'm not sure how the setup actually is or anything like that. But to your point, it seems like clean air really does matter. So we'll see how that works definitely in a couple weeks. Next week we have the break week, the calm before the storm, I like to say. But hey, at the end of the day, P2, great job today. And man, I'll tell you what, give us your shout outs if you have any sponsors, and we'll catch you in a couple weeks, man.
Yeah, I want to say first, congrats to Joe. I know he was close on the bubble there, and I let him go early on that in that final run just so I could save some tires. And I guess yeah, the clean air made him stay up front. And yeah, congrats to him. He advances as well. So shout out to Joe, shout out to the team, and shout out to Young's Motorsports for bringing a great truck to Kansas Motor Speedway on Saturday. Even though we brought out the first caution a little loose, but rebounded for a 21st place finish. Not bad.
Love that, man. Hey, congrats again. We'll see you in 2 weeks on the virtual track. But then again, you're going to Nashville next, right?
Yeah, Nashville, June 23rd. Should be exciting because I ran there last year. So familiar track. Hopefully we can finish better than a 21st place finish.
Heck yeah, man.
Get a new personal best.
Love it.
That's the goal.
Good to see, man. Hey, congrats again. We'll catch you in 2 weeks, man. Good job.
Sounds good. Thank you. I love you.
Nick, you gotta love him all the time. All right, so we couldn't bring in again. We couldn't bring in Mark Whitley because I don't see him active in any of our channels, so that's unfortunate. But we'll bring in our winner, Joseph Mealy. Hey, Joseph, it's Stephen Frank in the booth, man. You got me.
Yes, sir.
Hey, dude. Well, hey, you had a great race today. Obviously, didn't win stage 1 or 2, but you were right there the whole time, right? You entered the race P9 above the cut line and looked pretty good the rest of the way. But I mean, obviously, had the points. You're into the next round of the Championship 4, and you get the win today. Great momentum for sure. How you feeling?
Great. Really glad to win. I love mile and a halves. More so than anything, last Thursday night on the cup side, I missed it by 1 point because I was a fool. And I wasn't going to let that happen again tonight. And, it's just an iRacing league, sure, whatever. It has no bearing on real life. But I was really disappointed in myself for screwing up that badly. And I wanted to redeem it for myself, and I set my mind to it, and I did it tonight. So I'm really, really pleased.
Love to hear that, man. Great job again today. Big win. You're right. We mentioned it. The 1.5s are your playground. So, I mean, Auto Club in 2 weeks. Next week we have the week off just to kind of get ready. But Auto Club, I mean, have you driven the track recently? What's it going to take for you to get this championship?
I have not driven Auto Club recently, especially with the trucks. I have an idea of what it's going to be like, and it's, I'm optimistic, of course. Of course, I want to go out there and win it, but I would say I would be number 3. I'm expecting to be, who is that? Josh Berry or whoever from Xfinity last year.
Yep.
I'm not expecting to go out there and blow anybody's socks off or win the championship. So it's going to take a mistake by Nick or Whitley in the championship race. I don't see that happening. So I'm going to do my best. I'm going to give it my all. And if I'm at the top at the end of it, man, I'm going to be really happy. So it'd be nice to have Nick Lights Racing be the only champions of this series. It'd be great. So
Yes,
that's what
sir.
the goal is.
Love to hear that, man. Awesome job again. We'll see you in 2 weeks for Auto Club. Go celebrate, man. We'll catch you next week.
Absolutely. Yeah. Thank you. Have a good night. Oh, and shout out to my grandparents and my mom. Thank you. And Nick Lights and everybody.
Yes, sir. Love to see it, man. Joseph Mealy, great job on his win today. I believe 3rd win of the season. So definitely a great job for him. But, I mean, overall, let me check one more time real quick about Mark Whitley, see if we can snag him. And he is not, unfortunately, able to be... He's not around. I'll put it that way. So... but Mark Whitley, either way, I mean, didn't have much to lose. We talked to him in stage 1, right? Just trying different things out. Didn't get the win, but P3, he was already into the playoffs, or the championship round. So he's good to go. But Frankie, we're going to pull you in one last time, man. Good race today. Minimal cautions, a couple of incidents by some people that had, just unfortunate mistakes. Obviously, some issues there. But what do we think? I mean, one more race to go. Auto Club in 2 weeks. Yeah,
we have, well, it's the final week, and the one thing I take away from this is man, I mean, what can we expect for Auto Club? That's that's a while away. That's about 2 weeks away. So these boys, they'll have a week off before they go all the way out west, and I just don't know what the result's going to be out there. I mean, I think the certainty will be that the Championship 4 will be fast.
Right.
Who it is, we think it's going to be Joseph Mealy, Nick Lights, Mark Whitley, and John Wright, but we don't know for sure. So, but the certainty is the first 3. Nick Lights, Mark Whitley, Joseph Mealy, that's the certainty. The 4th is going to take some math. And I don't know about you, Steve, but I'm not very good at math. So hopefully we have a calculator around here to help us figure out what can we who's the other Championship 4 finale.
That is true. We did declare Jonathan Wright as the 4th driver, but I mean, obviously, with my math, as I'm jotting notes down, I could be horribly wrong, and we've made that mistake before, but at the end of the day, we're gonna do the math and do it right. But we know, to your point, that top 3 is definitely in. But we'll go back, re-roll the tape and look back, and we'll go from there. But keep in mind too, one thing to also consider, next week we're going to really focus in on obviously the championship 4 drivers, but also the contender playoff drivers. So for those who don't know, we've been basically doing like an interleague, another like playoff format basically for the best of the rest. I guess I'll put it that way. And right now, I mean, Nick Simpson, he is absolutely steamrolling in those rounds. So we're going to look to get it done there. We have to do the math as far as that is concerned as well. But 4 drivers are going to be looking for that championship for the actual playoffs. But then, hey, there's 4 drivers who are going to be looking to get their contender playoff, is what we call it, championship. And that should be pretty cool too. So obviously not as prestigious or whatnot as the championship race, but definitely something cool for those boys who are still showing up and maybe didn't make the playoffs. So going to be a lot of fun. We'll cover that a lot more in 2 weeks at Auto Club in the pre-race, and we'll go from there. But Frankie, great race today. Big shout out to, again, harpoondesign.com, Young's Auto Body, and AdminBoxx for all the support. Today, we'll catch you guys in 2 weeks for us, for the Harpoon Design Truck Series. Keep in mind, this Thursday, the Wheels America Cup Series comes here as well. The Atlanta Motor Speedway, this version of the track, not the newer one, the Super Speedway version. They'll come back to this old layout, and going to be a lot of fun. They're going to try their best, man. A lot of guys, 8 drivers trying to vie for the championship and get themselves into that championship race. So going to be a lot of fun. Stay tuned here for that on Thursday at 9:30 p.m. Eastern Time. But for now, for Frankie and I, we'll catch you guys on Thursday. And we thank you so much for the support. Like and subscribe. And like the video. It actually helps a lot more than you think it does. And we'll catch you guys next time. Bye-bye. Have a good night.